Hi, Amy. How are you?
Hi, Olivia. So nice to meet you.
You too. Hopefully, you're doing well today.
Yes, 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 yes. Can't complain. Beautiful weather
Friday.
in Tahoe
Oh,
and
that's
Friday.
awesome.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to a couple of trunk or treat events tonight with our kids, so wish me luck.
Oh, go. Yes, yes, yes. We've been doing that all week. I have a 6-year-old, so we've been, dressing up and hiding the candy, all those
Yeah.
things.
They already have enough candy as it is. We really don't need any more.
I
So,
know.
well, it was a pleasure to watch the show 1 Million Stories. I'm a frugal person myself, and so I used to be into a lot of like couponing and things of that nature, like many years ago, where track all the sales. And then I had kids, and it's really hard to do that. But we still do a lot of meal planning and try to eat at home as much as possible because eating out, one, groceries are just flat out expensive nowadays, but also eating out is even much more
Yeah.
expensive. And so I really appreciated the recipes because they were very simple to follow, yet good, right? So, and that's the key, and that's what I really enjoyed and took out of the series. And so I was curious if you had a favorite recipe in that Million Stories series that you like the most.
Well, all of them, I love all those recipes that we made. But I do love like I am a fan of trying to make things extra and freeze because as a parent, you sometimes just you don't know what to make, what's for dinner. And if you don't go out, like if you don't have a plan, you'll tend to go out to eat. And like you said, it's really expensive going out to eat at restaurants and you just don't get that much food. And so the next day, one thing I love about making food at home is that you can make a meal and have dinner, and then you can have something for lunch the next day, or you just throw it in the freezer. So when you have no clue what you want to make, you just pop it out and have something to eat. Um, I do love, I loved the meatballs. I think it was really obtainable for people to get into the kitchen and start cooking because you can do them with meat or with like beef or turkey, and lots of different components. And I added them on polenta to try to obvious is like meatballs and pasta, but I did the polenta because I was like, well, let's just try to like show someone new how to use the ingredient a little bit differently. But then that's the great thing about frozen meatballs is you can take them out, put a little bit of red sauce, toss them with pasta one night, or you can put them on a sandwich if you want a meatball sandwich. So you can take the ingredient and kind of change it up a little bit. With that, and those are kind of things that I love. The fried rice, always a good way to clean out the refrigerator, which helps remove food waste, which is always a problem. Things that I hate is when you open up the fridge and you realize that produce that you purchased went bad. It's heartbreaking. You're like, oh great, I just lighting dollar bills on fire. So that's I wanted to put a recipe like that together to try to show people that hey, you can take all these random vegetables and things that you have in your refrigerator in your pantry and try to make something out of it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciated that one because I'm always trying to shop our pantry and
Mm-hmm.
shop our refrigerator because, we buy a lot of what's on sale. That's how we plan our meals, like
Mm-hmm.
personally. Okay,
Yes.
so Brussels sprouts are on sale. I love Brussels sprouts, by the way.
Yes.
They're on sale, and so might as well scoop them up while they're on sale. And then I don't want to forget about them for, a week. And then I'm going to clean my fridge out and have to throw away all these fresh veggies that we bought, right? We do also cook in bulk, and I like to freeze it. Mentioned before you hopped on the Zoom, but I'm expecting our third child in about a month or so. And so I'm
Congratulations.
trying to make, thanks, I'm trying to make like freezer meals because they came in huge handy when we had our daughter 2 years ago to just pull
Yes.
something out, let it thaw, or just pop it right in the oven. And
Yes.
so the meatballs resonated with that. And then also the, like you just said, the fried rice, being able to take that stuff and make something out of what
Mhm.
you think you don't have anything to eat. And
Yeah.
so,
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm shopping my pantry tonight for dinner, for example. Like I'm in the process of going through my pantry and reorganizing things. It's kind of a mess. So I was like, I had a week and I was like, I'm going to reorganize this. Opened a huge can of worms. But tonight I was like looking at all the stuff. I'm like, gosh, I have all these things that might expire soon. So I have some like tenderized chicken and I was like, I'm going to bread the tenderized chicken, pan fry it, And then in a crock pot, I'm going to throw a can of white beans, some artichoke hearts, some capers, green olives, a little bit of chicken broth, and then I'm going to add like parsley and lemon and kind of slowly cook that and then serve it with rice. Maybe, I have no clue. And I'm like trying to look at all these ingredients and I'm like, well, what could go well together? What can I use so I don't have to go to the store tonight? So it might be a successful dish. It might be, could have been better.
But you know what? It's still edible. So that's the thing. We're like,
Exactly.
is it
And I
edible? Did it hit
utilizing
all the
things.
food groups? Right.
Right.
Exactly. You're going to eat it. You'll be all right.
Yeah. I'm utilizing things that are in at my house and trying to make things. So I always want to teach people like, you don't have to follow a recipe to a T. Like I'm literally throwing random things from my pantry into a crock pot. I have a kind of, I think I kind of was like chicken piccata maybe, and then I'm adding beans and artichokes because I have them, and we'll see, you know, and
Yeah.
it's going to be edible and you can learn from it if it's could be better.
Right, exactly. Yeah, never make it again or tweak
Yeah.
this or whatever, right? And I'm totally a recipe follow person, and so it's definitely challenging for me to get out of,
Yeah.
following. My husband is the complete opposite. He'll literally just throw something together and I'm like, that was really good. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful that he does like to cook too. Um I'm more of like, did I find this recipe on Pinterest? Is it easy to follow? Do I have every single ingredient
Yeah.
in the right amounts? I'm just a type A personality like
Yeah.
that. But I will, sometimes leave things out or substitute things. But it's definitely it's helpful to watch. Like I go back to the leftover video because it's helpful to watch, you know, being creative in that sense, and it's still turning out as something that we would actually eat for dinner instead of having to throw it in the trash and then go buy dinner out because that's
Yeah.
not cheap.
Yeah. I think to scribble outside the lines when it looks to recipes. You don't have to, baking, obviously, you have to follow things to a T. But with a lot of recipes, utilize things that you have or things that you enjoy. If a recipe calls for something like, that you don't necessarily enjoy the taste of, take it out. You're not going to fail. It's going to be a little bit different. But, or add things that you enjoy instead of say like, canned artichokes. If you're not a fan of those, replace them with maybe chopped zucchini or something that you do enjoy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it looks like you like to entertain as well, huh? Which I
Yes,
go over.
I feeding people is like my love language. I enjoy it. It makes me happy watching everyone. People that are fed and are full. They don't necessarily. It's like a warm hug when they get a home cooked meal.
Definitely. We like to entertain too. It's usually family. Every week we have family dinner and we rotate homes. So like last week we went to my in-laws and then this coming week we'll go to our house. And so each
That's fun.
person cooks and it's a lot of fun. I mean, we're going to plan dinner anyways. It's just we're planning it for a few more people. And thankfully they're not very picky people. So that's a very helpful week. And we don't have any food allergies. And so it's like we can pretty much make whatever. I know
Yeah,
certain people don't like certain things. Like if we're having squash and somebody doesn't like it, we'll make green beans or something along those
yeah,
lines too. We definitely like to entertain, and there are certain the dishes that I stand behind that we make all of the time, right? But it's again not anything super expensive. We pretty
yeah,
much have steak every Friday night, just our Friday like end of the week type thing. We
yeah.
buy in bulk and freeze it, and then we just pull it out and cook it that way. And so I did like the steak recipe too.
Oh, good.
The
Yes.
definite way to change it up instead of just the traditional grilled, you
You get
know.
kind of bored of that.
Right.
We do that as well. Like we got to change up the flavor profiles, especially if you have it every Friday. You're like, okay, like what can we do differently with it? So it kind of helps. And then going out to, families' houses, it's like going out to restaurants, but you're eating at home still, but it's a change of scenery and you get to be with your family, which is really special. So I think that's awesome. I'm so glad you could do that.
Yeah, it definitely is. And going out to eat is very stressful with two children.
Yes. Yes.
And that one, my son is 8 and my daughter's almost 2. So yeah, you can just imagine how that is. The patience is not there. And
Uh-huh.
then the bill comes and you're like, holy crap. And I have no leftovers, right?
Yes.
So it's disappointing. So yeah, we definitely like to entertain. I'd rather people come to our house because then my kids have their stuff and we can cook and do whatever we need to do. But yeah, that's awesome. I have a really hard time, like I said, kind of being creative in the kitchen.
Mhm.
I love to bake, and I think I love to bake because I can and have to follow the exact measurements of flour and sugar and stuff of that nature. But is there one creative like tip that you have for those of us that kind of struggle with getting out of a recipe for dinner?
I think like what I was saying is that it's, you can take things that you have in your pantry or utilize things that you enjoy in swapping out ingredients that you might have on hand. Referencing back to that example, like the artichokes versus maybe the zucchini needs to be used, or I have some broccoli. So swapping things out. I think it's okay to change and try to figure out from there and have your flavor profiles. I think sometimes I'm like, maybe it could have been a little bit different, but what do? You learn from that experience. And I think that is how you become a better cook in the kitchen.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I agree that I could probably make those small adjustments, like you said, those substitutions, and I feel like I'm making something huge
Yeah.
because I'm so up to the book kind of person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what really got you into cooking? I mean, I guess you probably liked it your
Yeah.
entire life, but what really got you into that?
Well, I've always enjoyed eating. So at one point you got to figure out how to cook for yourself. And I've always loved different types of food and cuisines. And I remember, I grew up with my mom on Saturdays cleaning the house, and I would watch PBS cooking shows of Julia Child and Jacques Pepin and Yang Can Cook. Like that is what my Saturday cartoons were as a kid. And I fell in love with like, oh my gosh, look at this chicken dish. And I'd be like, Mom, can we make this one day? So my mom encouraged it. And, we grew up in a big family. So we always had to contribute to the dinner table. And cook and kind of help with the family. And so I'm trying to do that with my son. You're setting the table today. Let's have you fill up the water glasses. There's little things that are age appropriate for him that I can get him to start doing. So it helps me, and it teaches him these life skills that I am going to instill in him because he is going to cook, you know?
He's going to eat at home and
Yes.
he's not going to waste his money.
Yeah.
He's going to know how to wash dishes.
Yeah. He's not going to be 25 and not knowing how to make dinner,
Not easy Mac, not working
Yeah,
over here, right?
exactly.
No, my son is 8 and he has a pediatric feeding disorder. And so we've struggled for many, many years to get him he was only eating formula there for a while out of a
Okay.
bottle. And so we
Okay.
did a lot of therapy and now he'll pretty much try anything now,
Well,
which
that's
is
great.
fantastic. And my almost 2-year-old will eat anything under the sun, which is a blessing for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
Completely different than my son. So yeah, we definitely try to have a variety of not only colors but textures on the
Yep.
plate too. And if he thinks spaghetti has to be with red,
Oh,
right? Red sauce is the
yep.
only way you can have spaghetti, but we've gotten him to try like with Alfredo
Okay.
or something that still call it spaghetti. It's okay, it can be
Yes.
different color.
Yes. Different
So those are
color.
very challenging.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it and trying to introduce to different textures and stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah, and we never ever really went out to eat as a kid either. Like I only had 2 siblings, but money was tight, so we
Yeah.
didn't really ever go out to eat. And so I, learned how to be frugal in that way, just like you were
Yes.
saying with cooking alongside your mom and having those dinner duties is very vital. And I see that I have a couple friends that eat out all the time and I'm like, how do you afford that? Really? Really,
Yeah. Adds
honestly.
up, especially with the family.
Right.
It's not just
Right.
one person. It's like four,
Exactly.
now going to be soon
Almost
to be five for you.
golly, I know it gets expensive, man. And like I said, groceries are expensive, but eating out is even more expensive. And so that's how that goes.
Yeah, and that's with Fed and Frugal. If we could, if we can get people, inspire people to get in the kitchen, try cooking, saving some money by, cooking at home and learning a new skill, it's just very important to us. So that's just, it's good.
I appreciate it. I like the shorter episodes too, because it gives people that are really busy time to be able to watch that. They can click the link and see the full recipe. So
Mhm.
I appreciate
Yes.
that. But
Yes.
thank you so much for your time today. I greatly appreciated chatting with you. And like I said, I loved the series and I will definitely share it with all my blog readers and friends and family.
Well, thank you so much. And congratulations on baby number 3.
Thank you so much.